This video's this is going to be an introduction because we're already done, but there's a couple things I wanted to point out. First of all, I did not have an introduction, so I'm doing this. And I also realized that these ones here are supposed to be the stainless steel rivets, the ones that go into the metal tags in the back, and I accidentally put aluminum ones. I caught it on the other side, so I gotta find those. I think I talk about that in the video. Now, one thing that I had a question on was this goes through two sets of skins. All of the bulkheads call for 41s. It says that station 4 through 10 or whatever. But this in my eyes should be 42s. And I did see somebody else do 42s, and I just emailed Randy, waiting to hear back on that. We ended up doing 42s, and I think that's fine. There's a few 41s before we decided to change it, and you can see how little of the head sticks through. So I might just change those to 42s as well. So yeah, stainless rivets where it goes into the tanks. These are stainless. These are all the proper ones because those were pretty well documented. And enjoy the video. I don't know if you can tell, but I just noticed that both sides on, was that station 7 up here between the top two rivet points on the vertical, they kind of bent out. And I kind of recall when I had Clecos in here that there was like a, you know, a push out on it. And this is kind of bent out, which I thought was odd. None of the other ones are like that. And so I started to bend this one in with some pliers, and I'm going to do the same with this one. So I made a note to myself to put a little bit more of a bend on this edge. And I also made a note that the underskin stops here, like where the next overlapping piece is, so probably bend less down here. And if you do the crease on the bottom overlapping this way, it tends to look more uniform with the aft upper skin. I hope I don't regret this. I'm going to give this a little bit more of a bend to contour around the tube on the frame. Here we go. I want to be careful not to ride off like that because it will actually mark it, and it's hard to fix it. Ask me how I know. So I'm going to stop right there. Okay, it's more than what I had. When that's on, it looks good. I don't think I want to overdo it. This is probably impossible, but I would like to get a little bit of a bend. In here. Okay, I'm going to try and get rid of that little crease. It's still visible, but not that noticeable. All right. I also trimmed out up here, which is around the weld gusset up there. So time to clean and deburr. Oh, I have a note here to trim the bottom. And so this is where the stringer sits. And I'm thinking of just, you know, moving that out and trimming that section off. That would, this rivet hole right here is through 2 skins. Everything else is just through 1 skin. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. So this is the skin that underlaps the other skin that you have to trim to stay on the center line. This is the inside skin. You don't actually see it unless you're looking up in the baggage compartment. But this is the markings. They're kind of worn off where the center stringer is. So basically I just measured that same distance over and I did trim that off. This way it's uniform. I put a slight upward edge with the edging tool on it, just so when you pick at it, you don't, I don't know, so it sits flush. Probably my least favorite part of the building process, deburring all the holes. I did the other skin, so they came out good. And I thought this might be worth pointing out. I don't know if you can see on the video, but we actually got a crease here when we were putting it on. It was a lot worse, and the spoon method, so you take a couple of spoons, actually works quite well. I don't know the real science behind it, but this almost is acceptable. I'm kind of hoping that the vertical fairing maybe somehow will cover it and blend it in. Also have a dent, paintless dent PDR guy that I might have to take a look at it. But I was pretty happy with the progress I made by using a spoon and then the paper towel, because if you don't, you mark up the metal quite a bit. So we had one here. We had one up here somewhere. This one's like completely gone. And I had one on this side as well. Yeah, you can kind of still see it here. I might take another look at that one. But then I took some 91% rubbing alcohol and just cleaned everything up after deburring all the holes. Trying to think of anything else I'm missing before we put these on. So as I'm cleaning these, I go through and then I hit them with a Scotch-Brite pad. But I couldn't help but notice that on every station, there's kind of like a little stress mark on all the stations. And so I'm not sure if it's the last rivet or this bend here. It's got to be that last tang coming out of these bulkheads. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take that edge off a little bit, because what we don't want to have happen is, I don't know, somebody like push on it and have that crease through. I think by just dulling the edge on these top tangs, that would eliminate any chance of outies later on. Yeah, so I hit the top of this one with my little manicure file things. Yeah, I kind of kick myself if I didn't do this. Yeah, just take the edge off. There, you got all that deburred. It's the next day. Today's plan is I've left to deburr these, and then George is coming over, and hopefully we'll be able to cleco and rivet everything on and get this thing finalized. Very much looking forward to that. Alright, so tonight I think is a big night. George is here, and hopefully the skids will be going on for the very last time. Got everything cleaned up, deburred, scotch padded, wiped down with alcohol, and we just put that, what's that thing called? A CAN termination piece on
CAN termination, yeah.
CAN bus termination piece on the magnetometer, because I don't think either of us wanted to crawl through the fuselage. You can kind of get at it from here if you had to. But so we're putting all the stuff on now and hopefully do some riveting. The skin is so smooth. Good progress tonight. We got 4 hours. Time we start 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30. Yeah, 4.5 hours. But looks awesome, huh? What do you think, George?
Turned out awesome. Let's go fly.
I'm really, really happy. Yeah, bring up the wings, duct tape them on, good to go. All right, so I think this is probably the end of the video for the tail skin. And what did we learn? Anything?
A lot of taking on and off the...
A lot of taking on and off the skins, deburred everything.
Measuring about 50 times.
Yeah, pay attention to all of these different rivets. Printed that out. So these are all 42s. We had some stems that are higher than normal. It's the first time I've seen that happen, but I can grind those down. This one here goes through 4 skins and the stringer, so I wasn't quite sure, but that would add up to 20,000s, 20,000, 20,000, 20,000, and 40,000s. So it's just within the realm of the 42s. And yeah, these were all 41s, all 42s, pretty straightforward. These ones we had to kind of just guesstimate, but we ended up doing 41s back here. And hopefully we didn't rivet anything that we weren't supposed to at this point. But yeah, really exciting. Good night. So I do have one last question. Cage attach tabs. So that's where all the tabs attach. Those should be stainless steel CCPQ 42s. I have a bag of 41s. And there's some leftover 43s. I don't have any 42s. And I'm also thinking that 41s should be thick enough for 20,000s plus 40,000s. Should be in the range of the 41s, just like the AAPQ 41s were for the bulkheads here. But then it does go through the tab, so yeah, it should probably be a 42. But I don't have any. I have a few left over from the wing, but not enough to do these. And I also put the wrong ones here, so I gotta change that. I caught it on the other side.